We're live. People, deluded. I'm back again. I hope you're all doing well and safe, whoever you are, wherever you are. As usual, good morning to those of you in the UK. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending on who you are and where you are in this world, people. DG Nation's gone global. Now, it's Tuesday now, we're at the start of the week. I hope you're all moving closer towards your goals and things like that. I know I'm trying to do all I can. Like today, I've been up since I'm always up early, people. It's been a 5:30 start for me. I did the Deluded podcast. Would appreciate if you lot took that in, people. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music, it's on Google, it's on the rest of them. Links and information's in the description. Make sure you're hitting the like button if you haven't already. So yeah, it's been a long day. And I thought, what am I going to go live about today? I had no plans to go live, people. I don't like to force it. But then I just remembered it's March. For the last couple of months, I've been offering my thoughts as an Arsenal fan at the end of the month. Obviously, January to February has been a mad fixture schedule and calendar, and we've still got a lot of football to go. But in terms of February, we can at least stop, think, and provide some talking points and things like that. But before we do all of that, I appreciate all of you locked in. I appreciate Peter. He said the podcast was a good listen. I appreciate that, Peter, man. I appreciate the commitment as well, because that was 50 odd minutes. And what's it? I think it went live at like 9:30. So what, you basically just watched that and you're straight into this. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all the members. It's lovely to see you locked in. I really appreciate it, man. Good morning to you, Jamie. Jaden, I hope you're good. Omar, you're here, there, and everywhere in relation to everybody's Arsenal channels, but I appreciate you nonetheless. I'm not too sure I'm worthy of that, but maybe one day, my guy, Deluded needs a statue in front of the Emirates. You lot kill me. Big up yourself, Liam. Elliot, I hope you're good. Trez, I hope you're good. And all of those things. What James are you talking about? You talking about the AFTV one? That guy blocked me for some reason. Unfollowed me for some reason, so I blocked him, man. But I'm sure everybody likes who they like, man. I appreciate you for not only subscribing, but hitting the like and also patting in the notifications. There's 21 people of you locked in right now. Please make sure, the likes correlate, people. Like Em is saying, big up yourself, Em. I must admit, not a funny man thing, but you when I said members, I thought of you, and it's nice to see you're locked in. You never miss a trick. So big up everybody locked in. Please hit the like button. Twitch gang, I never forget you people. Deluded Gooner 187 for those of you who care to view via Twitch. So yeah, like I said, I hope you're doing well. There's 20 likes, there's 29 of you viewing. Couple of lazy people, boy, it is what it is. I'm good, my guy, I'm good. But yeah, like I said at the start of this, there isn't too much to speak about, so I thought I'd offer my thoughts in relation to where I'm at as an Arsenal fan in February, people. So yeah, if I share my screen with you guys early doors very quickly, we can get straight into it, really. Why are we wasting time and all? So yeah, here we go. I hope you lot can all see. Let me zoom in a bit and do our 200. So as you lot can see, February review. You don't need to know that. At this moment in time, people, we sit 10th. We've got 37 points. Again, we're 10th, but in a crazy season, West Ham, deservedly so, are 4th. That should be the target. Again, I don't think we can get top 4, but until it's over mathematically, you still have to pursue that. So 4th is on 45 points. I think Everton and Liverpool are actually drawing now following Everton's win yesterday. I believe Liverpool on 43 points and sit in 6th. So obviously we want to be in the Champions League. Europa League is a minimum. I know I hear what people, you hear what I'm saying. I hear what you lot say all the time with, we could do with not being in Europe and stuff like that. But it's going to have a knock-on effect off the field and affect our ability to sign people on the field and things and things like that. So it make of that what you will. Jay, big up yourself. You're saying, how do you get on the podcast? It's exactly what another member has said. Cam, he said he uses Spotify. So if you've got Spotify, Google, Apple Music, follow them applications and they'll finger you. Omar, it might be a stretch. They don't deserve it, but that's the goal in August. So I'm not too sure what sense you're making, with all due respect, my guy. That's the goal. Until it's mathematically impossible, you have to target that. Anything less than that is failure. That has been our target for the numerous years. They know the target in August, because some of these players are falling short. So I'm not too sure where you went with that, my guy, but shout out to you. Obviously, in terms of the games played, again, I really think if we were to look at February, we're in better spirits because of how it's ended. Let's be real. Last week, the end of the month, more or less, in terms of game fixtures, we came back against Benfica and we came back against Leicester. On one hand, fantastic character from the boys, fight, determination, and all of those sort of things. and I'll expand in a bit, but on the same token of that, it's the same old problems: not killing games, not managing games well, game management being not there, cheap goals and things like that. These are things you've got to be wary of. So in terms of the games played, sadly, we lost to Manchester City. The only criticism I can say is there was a bit of a defeative mindset. I mentioned West Ham. Ultimately, we both lost, didn't it? And we both lost by a single point. But you go and ask Man City who was harder to play, Arsenal or thingy, Arsenal or West Ham. They will say West Ham, because West Ham, they gave Manchester City a tough run for their money. Man City had to show their quality. Kevin had to make something happen. Their centre halves had to find the goals. Us, we was defeated. We were kind of happy to concede. And if I'm completely honest with you, Villa were in form and things like that. And I'm going to expand on it and probably say it several times. But when you look at these games, on top of the obvious being defeating, we've conceded 2 early goals in these games with Sterling, and I can't even remember. It might have been Ollie Watkins, people. And then obviously against Wolves, it was, we was fantastic until the red card. But again, stupid mistakes. So early goals being conceded, and for me, cheap goals being conceded. Every team will say every goal's avoidable. But apart from the João Moutinho one off the top of my head, which was a terrific strike, and there's probably a next one in there, the free kick against Benfica, which I'm trying to keep it league at this moment. They're goals where you can only just put your hands up and just go like that, innit, people? So it is what it is. For what it's worth, I think we're not finishing top 4. I think top 6 is hopeful. I don't think these boys can do it. But once again, you have a goal in August, try and see it through. As long as it's mathematically possible, do not write it off. I want you to finish as high as you can. And in the season, what you're seeing, when we're going to not get top 4, I want to be wrong, but we're not going to get European football. And it's not going to be because all the other teams are better than us, with the exception of City. I don't think we're better than many teams, but it's because we have shot ourselves in the foot time and time and time and time again, people. So cheap goals, early goals. Obviously Europa League, again, heroics. You got it over and done with. You got through to the next round. Again, game management. Our manager said we've learned our lessons from playing in from a year ago against Olympiacos. I didn't necessarily see that against Benfica. It's heroic comebacks and all these things, but we made that tie across 180 minutes of football 10 times harder than it needed to be. And especially because in February, you see the amount of depth that you need, people. We made 5-6 changes in our last game. If some buts are not facts, but if you get a decent result against Benfica, you finish that tie in the first leg, probably could have rested certain players and done certain things, people. Of course, let me not lie. It's fantastic to beat Leeds and Leicester. Of course, they're two cheap goals conceded against Leeds, an early cheap goal, which we gave to Leicester. A lot of our goals are cheap, early, just basically self-inflicted. But either way, they're 2 games against Bielsa and Brendan Rodgers. I didn't think we'd win. They're 2 games that I wanted Arteta to learn his lesson, because I do think, obviously we had a red card against Leeds. I did think, as well as the players, Arteta messed it up against Leicester. They've reacted, people. Again, my maths is poor, but I tried to add these together and, all of the stuff. And we've scored 12 goals. We've conceded 10. So I've heard a lot about us improving defensively, and I get it. We have a bit, but we've still got several players making several individual mistakes, So we've got to cut that out. Mistakes happen, but you've got so many, It was Cedric against Southampton. It was Ceballos against Benfica. It was Xhaka who turned it around against Leicester. It's previously been David Luiz, and there's been several moments. So how much can we improve, one, without better players, or at the same time with these error-prone players? So we've conceded 10 and scored 12. So it's not exactly, we're not exactly clinical in front of goal. We're not exactly keeping them out. 0 clean sheets is very disappointing. Whatever way you look at it, people. It's quite disgraceful. It's quite upsetting. If you meant to defend better and stuff, and we could have kept, coulda and woulda, shoulda, wouldn't do much, but 0 clean sheets. In relation to my own thoughts, people, again, I give it a 4 out of 10, because, again, there's euphoria of beating Benfica and beating Leicester, but no clean sheets, a lot of cheap goals. We've been having this sort of thing as Arsenal fans, or as an Arsenal team collectively, for a while, where a couple of times this season we've gone into games, we've gone into periods where there's a tough run of games and people need to stand up to be counted and things like that. And I haven't seen it. In fact, maybe a 4 is harsh. I'll give it a 5, because at the end of the day, you beat Leicester, you're still in the Europa League. You beat Benfica, still in the Europa League, sorry, and you beat Leicester. But for me, it's probably a 4. I'd give it a 5. Like I said, you end the month kind of positively going into March because of, well, not the Leeds game, but because of Leicester. But it's not enough. We've made a lot of these games hard work. Even the game against Leeds, 2 cheap goals. You know, Leeds don't score from set pieces. Lo and behold, we allowed them to score from set pieces. And as you guys already know, we've got a difficult fixtures coming, people. In no order, we've got Olympiacos. We've obviously got Spurs, West Ham, Liverpool, Burnley. You know, it's going to be tough, people. In relation to players of the month, I've tried to go for an unusual one. I think personally, I've seen an improvement in Leno, like just certain question marks I personally had over him. You know, Saka and Tierney picked themselves, and there's obviously other players, but they're my players of the month. My concerns of the month would be the lack of game time to Martinelli. I know he's had injuries, and I'm not as crying over it as other people. I just kind of know. I just want to know what's happening. I would like to see him get some minutes. I'm not up in arms. I just want to see a bit more. Obviously, Nelson's got to make himself, you know, he's got to sign himself, but it is concerning. He's a bit of a forgotten man. Would have liked Lacazette to play a bit better. Bellerin's had some good games this month, but it's more of the same. You know, I'm a bit concerned over Thomas Partey's injuries. And, you know, it's still the errors being made. We're still conceding cheap goals. We're still doing silly things, people. And that's not gonna leave our game, in my opinion. It definitely not in a month. And I've seen nothing to suggest that it's going to leave anytime soon, people. Again, the mental aspect for me clearly isn't 100% there because I guess the buck falls with Arteta, but at the same time, you know, he shouldn't have to tell you why you need to not concede early on against Leicester and against teams of that. So for me, whether we've gone into games kicking off the game week, you know, gone into games playing last, I don't think we've had the mental bottle to do that. And, you know, I don't believe we can get top 4. But if you're going to have any chance, you all need to be mentally switched on. And it doesn't appear that players are always there, you know. In my opinion, there's still the same concerns. We still have an error-ridden squad with players who might give you 3 games, play well for 3 games, and when those crunch time 3 games come into it, they're going to struggle. In relation to positives, personally, you know, it's nice to see Aubameyang has scored a couple crucial goals and bagged a hat-trick. To be fair, 2 big wins against Leeds to a degree and Leicester to a degree. I know Leicester's had a lot of injuries. End of the day, we're still in the Europa League. You know, again, I'm not happy with the way we've gone about our business, but we're still in it. I like to see somewhat we've settled on a formation. We're not seeing a 5 and then a 3. And to be fair, that could be said for last month. And it's not really here, but I should really put competition places. You know, again, butchered the word competition, but I feel there's competition for places now, mainly in the attacking sort of positions. You could say defensively now, because is it Gabriel, is it Marie, is it Louise, is it Holding, whatever. But I'd say mainly I've been impressed with the sort of stuff that we're seeing. Like even Odegaard hasn't set the world alight, but he's looking like he's all right. In terms of improvement, people, for me personally, it's clear as day, you know. You know, we've conceded inside the 6 minutes in 3 of our last 4 Premier League games. Stop conceding early. Stop conceding cheap goals. You know, the goal against Benfica, the goal against João Moutinho, and even Moutinho's not being closed. There are 2 games I can hold my hands up and say, all right, cool, they scored a madness. But too often than not, we're handing goals. And yeah, we turned it around against Leicester, but there's been incidences where we ain't turned it around. You know, we've huffed and puffed and still lost the game 1-0 or not equalised. And it's not sustainable to go with that. And like I said, whatever way you look at it, I'm not a mad stats man, but I see my team with no clean sheets, 10 goals conceded, 12 goals scored. You know, that's a positive. That's a plus of 2. Again, that's not sustainable. And obviously, players, we still need to share the goals around. I still want to see consistency from more players. I do want to see us play well for the whole 90, because whether we've won, lost, or drawn, I don't necessarily, Leicester, fair play we did, but I don't feel we're playing well over 90 minutes. There's certain fans that will harp on about, you know, the Wolves game, the first 20. Certain man will think of the other. So there's no balance. And to be honest, when I hear Arteta and these players, they sound like school kids at times, in that they talk about if this happened and if that happens. We just have to deal with the facts sometimes. And if you don't play well for 90 minutes, you're not getting nothing. I would like to see consistency from everybody involved. You know, Pepe's not really had too much of a look in, but he's done all right. Lacazette's done all right. This last week has been kind to Willian, and Cedric's been playing well, but can these players continue with what they're doing? Because again, we're still relying heavily on the young Bukayo Saka, Kieran Tierney, and the usual suspects, people. So yeah, man, the month ended well, but we have we've left a lot of ground to make up, and that's only going to happen with consistency. Ultimately, I do think we need to shoot more, because I don't think we're testing keepers enough, people. Generally, I feel our attacking players have done well. And as I said, there's good competition for places. Is it Smith Rowe or Odegaard or even Lacazette in the 10? If Lacazette goes through the middle, you've got to put a Aubameyang on the left or drop him out, which means there could be a Saka or a Martinelli. If we take Willian at face value based on the last week and say he's playing his way into some sort of form now, again, is Saka guaranteed on the right? Now, again, I only really believe in Bukayo Saka. I'll be real with you, because there's only certain men that have shown me consistency. But if everybody's pushing if everyone's pushing each other, if everybody's applying pressure, then we should do all right. Obviously, it is nice as well. Beating Leicester was the first time since 2015. I think that was against Manchester City, where we've actually beat a team away from home who were in the top 4 at the time of playing. And again, you've got to prove you can do things like this if you want to get top 4 or do anything. My ending thoughts is, simply put, for me, I genuinely believe this is what the season is, what these players make it in it. Look at Southampton. You know, Southampton were actually leading the league at some point. Now they're looking like a relegation thing. So this is what I mean. They're probably going to be safe because I think there's worse teams, but you see what I mean about this is what you make it. Yes, Arsenal haven't got, for me, the midfield isn't levels. We're not consistent. There's a lot of players I don't think are good, if I'm completely honest with you, and hot and cold. Yes, all of these things are true. And stuff like that. And I don't like to do the ifs, buts and things. But if you look back to, and I'm sure you all think of different examples, when you've seen this team drop points, you know, the picture could have been painted differently. And this is what I mean. No team, apart from City of recent, with respect to Everton and West Ham and Leicester to a degree, is consistently good game in, game out. So if we do not finish in a European place, yes, it's because Arsenal ain't good. But it's because it's not only that. We've shot ourselves. We have had a goal in mind and been unable to see it through, because this is what I'm talking about. You know, in August you want to get top 4. You know, the turn of the year you're going to get games like this when the Europa League and the Prem start sandwiching each other. You know the squad is going to be vital. You know, you have to be able to get points off the top 6, top 8 teams. Show consistency at home. Be consistent week into week. All of these things are things, before you talk about the other teams and stuff, that we can apply. Too often than not, regardless, we defeat ourselves. We defeated ourselves against City. We defeated ourselves against Leicester. Self-inflicted errors against Wolves. We are our own worst enemies. And if we do not get what we want in the season, it's because we've cheated ourselves. We've not been consistent. We've not had that desire. Not everybody has matched that. Because I can say about 5 to 7 names, 7 max, 5 names that I truly believe in. And it's down for everybody. So the season is what they make it. I do think we have improved, but if we're real, you know, they're great improvements compared to what Arsenal have been, but we are a mediocre side right now. We're sitting 10th. It's not good enough collectively. Everyone needs to take responsibility. On one hand, you can see some improvements, but on the other hand, it's mediocre. Let's be real, people. You know, sitting 10th. I'm by no stretch of the imagination unaware of where Arsenal are and things like that, but we need to have balance. You know, it's not good enough. Like 10th, it is what it is, but it's poor, people. And I need to see more character from the players when things aren't going well, because too often than not, I'm looking at the Kieran Tierney's and the Bukayo Sakas and hoping that sort of impressionable stuff rubs out on other players. I need everyone to stand up to be counted, you know. I want to see us play well consistently for the full 90 minutes, not in stages, people. This is just me. This is meant to say unanswered questions. Unanswered questions going into March and ending February for me, people, is, you know, I don't think we share the goals or assists enough. I think the fact of Willian's been very poor up until this last week. He's up there for assists in the league. Smith Rowe's really just been 5 minutes in the team like that consistently. They're leading the chart. So again, there's no real there's no real, people aren't sharing it, and we know in terms of goals, assists, shooting, dictating the tempo of the game, there's a ridiculous amount of improvements that are required and needed to be done. You know, again, unanswered questions. Ceballos had a bit of a shocker against Benfica, but I think generally this month he's been all right. Willian, of late, you've been decent. Xhaka has been all right this month. Cedric's been all right. Two of the three have made, 3 of the 4 names I've just said have made costly errors for us. You know, this is what I mean by there's too many hot and cold players. Again, unanswered questions. Are you gonna put a marker down now? Ceballos, are you gonna continue? Xhaka, are you gonna continue? Cedric, are you gonna lock it down? Do you get it? There's too many of the David Luiz, you know, even Marie as well. Because I think Marie's a good defender and he's quality, but I think people let Marie get away with a lot and don't speak about it. You know, you don't get, everyone's blaming Xhaka and El Nene, and they both had a hand, but equally Marie is to blame for that error as well against Leicester. Xhaka's lost the ball. Marie and El Nene are too slow to close the press. We beat Chelsea and they didn't score, but nobody speaks about how at times Marie looked shaky in that game, and then obviously he conceded the pen. So again, I'm not getting at Marie. It's just there's very few players in this team I truly know your level or what I can expect. You know, Partey's been a bit of an injury risk, to put it nicely. Aubameyang of recent hasn't been prolific, but typically I could throw their names in. You know, young Bukayo Saka, Martinelli, who's not played, Tierney, you know, Leno, I'd throw him in there. Yeah, he does dodgy stuff, but I'd throw Leno in there. That's not good enough out of a 25-man squad. I like what Pepe's on. I like how Lacazette's found form. Do you get it? But I don't know. I like how I think Xhaka at times has been scapegoated, but I don't know if you're going to continue this. I can only, you know, if I had to put my life savings or bet my actual life, there's only a couple man I think are going to show me that. So to look around and see, you know, a 19, 20-year-old in Saka and Tierney, while he's been at Celtic, he ain't been involved. I'm looking at them who get it. So again, there's still unanswered questions. You know, there's still too many hot and cold players in the team. But generally, the month has ended well. I can't really complain, people, in that regards. If we look at the month to come, like I said, once again, I said it at the start, but there's no time for peeing about, people, because the games aren't getting any easier. And I'm not being funny. If you're a professional footballer, I keep saying it, if I'm playing for Arsenal and the fixture list comes out in August, not that I'm looking way too ahead, people, but I'm looking for this sort of period we're talking about. I'm looking at what our things are saying, people. It's crazy. Please make sure you're doing up the likes, people. Come on, man. Let's pattern up and get that to 100. Like I was saying, let me bring up the fixtures that we've got to come. And this is what I want to see now. It's been a poor month in February, but you've ended it on a high with obviously doing what you did against Benfica, doing what you did against Leicester. Can you continue that? Of course, there's going to be road bumps. Of course, we're going to drop more points. But can you minimize dropping points and maximize things? Can you close out games better? Can you all can you all just show me what I see from Bukayo Saka? And again, you're gonna have to show that, people, because our fixture list isn't kind. You've got Burnley at 12:30. I hope it's the Burnley that played Spurs the other week, well, last week, but we're traveling to Turf Moor and they beat us. So I want to see revenge, people. Or did they beat us or we drew? Either way, we conceded from a set piece. I think we lost. After that, you need to beat Burnley, because you're going into a Spurs game against a Jose Mourinho team where again you lost. Go and do something. You know, if I remember correctly and I cast my mind back to West Ham, you know, we got lucky against West Ham and needed a late Nketiah goal. I could be wrong, to turn that one around. And they're in form as well. And that's away. Not that the home and away thing makes or doesn't make a difference, but these are 3 tough games, people. You've got Liverpool after West Ham. Regardless of Liverpool, where they in terms of their own standards, we need to pattern up, innit? It's as simple as that. You've got Sheffield United in April. Now, Sheffield United are probably gone, people. But you get the point, innit? You got to be wary. So again, March, just focusing on March, people. Every game's a cup final. There's no easy games there, people. No easy games. You need to at least beat Burnley away from home, because you've got the North London derby after that. You've got West Ham away the following week, and you've got Liverpool. Obviously, sandwiched in between these 4 Premier League games, people, once again against Burnley, Spurs, West Ham, and Liverpool, you have Olympiacos. So again, it's a big month. The whole 25-man squad needs to stand up to be counted. Same way we came back from behind and beat Leicester. I want to be able to have the luxury and feel that Arteta can make 5 or 6 changes and we can still get a result, you know. So again, they're going to need to stand up to be counted. It's what you make it. If these boys want Europe, whether that's qualifying via the top 4 or get into the Europa League, they've got to learn from what they've been doing poorly all season. Learn from the Benfica game. Learn from the Leicester game, because although we won, there's things you could learn over the 180 minutes. Kill off the game in the first leg if you can, you know, and this is sort of things that shagged us against Olympiacos. So we need to learn, people. You know, the 2 goals we conceded against Leeds, why did that happen? You know, the goal you conceded against Villa, why did that happen? Do you get it? There's so many things we can go back to the drawing board, and I don't know if these players generally are on that sort of stuff. So it's what you make it, in it, people. It's firmly what you make it, people. So on that note, there isn't anything more to say in that regard. I'm going to take some questions from you guys, people. Sorry, people, you know me, I love a timestamp. But yeah, what are you guys saying, people? Yeah, it was peak. It was peak. It was peak. It was peak. Yeah. So yeah, you need to pattern up. You know, I want to know that you can. All I want to know is that, logically speaking, if I'm an Arsenal player and I was part of that squad in any capacity that played against Burnley, yeah, I'm gonna watch the game again. I know why it went wrong, but I want to watch the game again. Then I want to do my research on Burnley off my own back. Then obviously Arteta and the analyst teams, they're gonna tell you this, that, and the other. You know, be switched on. Be switched on. You've got to, you know, you're not playing midweek. You switch on. You've got a whole week to prepare. You know what you're gonna face in Burnley. You know you got people like Pope that's trying to get called up by England and go to the Euros. You know they're gonna be angry because Spurs handed it to them. So again, you know if you don't get 3 points off Burnley, then you know the Spurs have been iffy, but form goes out the window in North London derbies. And like Burnley, I want revenge. I'm not gonna cap. Of course, I'll take a point against Spurs. Live to fight another day. But I want 2 wins. I want to win. Of course, I want a win in every game. People, it makes it. Who doesn't? But it's a big month, and it's gonna. The whole squad is gonna be needed. You know, the whole squad. Again, you already see how we've had to rest Bukayo Saka and things. And obviously, I want Saka playing every week because he's a bad boy. But I want other players to stand up to be counted. We can't keep pulling man along and relying on man and overplaying man. Other men have to stand up to be counted. We're in the most important part of our season now. It's firmly about making it from March until end of April in some sort of contention for something. Top four is a myth for me, but make sure you're in it somehow. If I'm a player, I'm dying to do that. Make sure you're still in Europa League. And then when it gets from, March to April, and then it's April to May, it's a straight shootout. It's down to you. And again, it's about consistency over a long period. And I think Arsenal fans were guilty of, it's only when we lose, people want to speak about everything. When we win, you're called negative for things like this. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Man, I say not on a funny man thing hoodie, my guys. They'll probably cancel me for that, but who knows, man? Why not, man? Bro, how can you prioritize anything? Logically, don't get twisted, Clips. I feel you. I somewhat agree. You have more of a chance of Europa League. But my team, excluding the FA Cup, I don't know if they're gonna have the mental capacity to kill off a game in one leg. Look how hard we made it against Benfica. It's only gonna get harder now. So can I really bet on that? The league, I think it's a myth because I don't know what I'm getting week in, week out. But I'm not prepared in March to sit here and say, do you know what? It is what it is with the league. We can just mess about. I want at minimum, forget top four, finish as high as you can. So I think the time isn't to prioritize right now. I think indirectly Arteta's done it, but and I'm not being funny. For the last couple of years, we've known we're gonna be in and amongst this. If you're gonna, what I would like to see, if you are gonna do it, double down. Do the Jose Mourinho thing when he was at United, where, bro, somehow he's walking away with that Europa League, or prioritize the league, but damn well get something in it because it's peak, because we ain't got the luxury of an FA Cup to get Europe. I see the logic, and I agree with the logic of if we don't get Europe next season, how we could come back and stuff. In fact, we'll probably play once a week and we'll say different things. But let's be real, what the lack of European football has a direct consequence on our pockets and might affect the way we're looking to buy players, in which you look at us now, our scouting isn't the best. So as to know, man, everyone has had bad performances this season, but some have had more than others. And right now, that's not going to help me if I'm an Arsenal player and saying everyone played poor. You could say some people above us have played poor, but they're above us, so it doesn't help, and that's even worse. That's even worse, Clips, because that means we're unable to take advantage of everybody being poor in this crazy season. That's exactly what I mean when I say we will not get our goals or whatever aspirations we had because of ourselves, man. Because of ourselves, bro. Top 4, 6 has to be the target. 8th, has to be the minimum. You can't finish. I think we're going to finish lower than we did last year, but I have hope to be different. And there's going to be question marks. And again, Arteta, the boys, they'll all have to question mark, because whatever you say, the league doesn't lie. You're there for a reason. You might have played, you might have had positive moments against Chelsea, Leeds, and all of these things, but it don't mean anything. They need to. They need to just show some togetherness. And I agree, young Gooner, our squad isn't great, but how many teams that have less technical players than us or less showman sort of players are doing better than us? We can still do a lot more. And the two truths can be true. I don't think our squad is good enough, but we can get more tools out of more use out of them people. So it is what it is, man. 1-1 is saying, big up Deluded. I got the 30-minute warning, but the notification for the stream starting didn't come through. Boy, I don't know, man. YouTube don't like me, so we just keep going, man. We just keep going, bro. It's not. I wouldn't say it's papering in the cracks, because you've managed to, get into a Z-list competition in Europe. So I think that would tell everything, man. Unless, like Cam is saying, it's embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing, man. Absolutely embarrassing. Evidently, Jay, we did lose ground. But again, I do know one player. Obviously, players getting injured can be a thing, but I'm not being funny. But for the last number of years, or just Arsenal fans in general, the boys, in fact, or the club, injuries are a part of it. Losing form is a part of it. It's a squad game nowadays because of, forget the league and what everyone else is doing with the club, the amount of international games they're playing. So I agree with that. But again, this is the club because a blind man could see. We were sitting here in the summer and saying Partey is a great player, but if he's injured, what happens? You're back to square one. If he's fit, whose levels? And if we're real with ourselves, there's too much inconsistencies with the midfield. You don't know what you're getting from Xhaka, Ceballos week in, week out. And then there's just not levels really and truly. Odegaard is not our player. Ceballos isn't our player. There's a lot of question marks, man. Absolute lot of question marks. But it is what it is in that regards. We move. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. 81 likes, 172 of you locked in. Can't have it all, people. What else are you locked in? Bro, have to bring in midfielders that are just competent, bro. Ski. I hear that. I want midfielders that can score. I want midfielders that are just confident to get the ball and have seen the picture. I want midfielders who do things in less touches, because the midfielders that do want the ball in this team, they take a touch and 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 a touch. And our build-up play is slow anyways. And 9 times out of 10, teams are setting up defensively against us. So when you're playing slow, you're allowing them, and sideways, you're defending for them, really. Holding on to the ball is a strength and a way of utilizing against the opposition, but it's what you do with it, man. Big up yourself to Eddie. You've said super right, DG. This is the most open league race ever for top spots. No other team other than Man City has consistent form. Chelsea sacked Lampard and a 5th. It's up to us. Facts. Absolute facts, man. Make sure you're running up the like button, people. Oh, hopefully, TB. I hope in the first leg I want us to kill the game. Draw's not good enough for me. You need to kill the game, because you said you learnt your lessons against Olympiacos. I never saw that against Benfica. Kill off the game. They didn't kill the game off in Benfica in Olympiacos in the first leg. That's why, and again, he should have scored, but Aubameyang's miss and Leno's error is highlighted and mismanagement from Arteta. If you kill the game, it isn't a thing. First leg against Benfica, peed about, did not score. Unlucky penalty, and rather than it being 4-5-1 and us just getting a goal, it's obviously 1-1 and we're having to do a madness, people. They don't like us, man. They don't like us, but we keep going, man. We keep going. I would love Camavinga, but we're never getting him, and he's a young player that would need to be developed. And are we developing our players apart from Saka, really and truly? Liam has said individual errors this season has let us down badly. The manager can't be held responsible for some of those mistakes. And that's why I said, my guy, it's a mixture. He can't. He can't. When you see what Cedric is doing, Ceballos is doing, Xhaka is doing, you can't. He's relying on them at the end of the day, but he cannot, please don't spam Liam as well. He can't. But their mistakes happen, innit? At the same time, he's playing certain error-prone players. And let's be honest, it's not all just these players. Arteta hasn't peed around with the lineup. Arteta has messed things up. I'd say the biggest thing with Arteta is he can set up a match plan, but there's been some games he's gone into and you can see the experience of the other manager and he's either blinkered or reacting to it. And again, I would say while the individual errors are not his fault, he's got to pinpoint why these things are happening, because it's becoming a choice. We're choosing, not that we're trying to do things on purpose, but we're choosing not to learn, because like I've always say, it's David Luiz 1 week, it's Cedric the next, it's Xhaka the next. In the last month, how many have made mistakes? So that is down to the players to focus. And 100% I agree. That's actually been something that was there. Remember against Chelsea, one of Arteta's first games, I think it was the game after Bournemouth away, we were fantastic. And then the boys threw it away after 21 minutes. But is he, that's where I have to start looking at Arteta. While I agree with you, he can't be held accountable. Ultimately, he's the manager. When these players are making the right decisions, he gets it. Can you nip it in the bud? Even stuff like Willian, you've persisted with Willian. He looks great right now, but at the same time, he needs to keep it going, or we're going to look at Arteta and say, why are you doing that sort of thing? And this is it, 1-1. We can't give up on the league. Everyone is inconsistent, so anything can happen. But Europa is probably our best shot. That's it for me as well. That's it for me as well. Facts. Please stop spamming. Next person to spam, you're going to have to Ola block. Can't lie to you. Cannot lie to you. I think he has. I think he has. I think he has benefited from being empty stadiums, especially when we were really doing poor. Again, for me, the minimum I want to see from Arteta, if you're not going to finish in a respectable league place, is a proper DNA and way of playing. If I don't really see a DNA, if I see iffy results, if I don't really see evident players improving individually and collectively, then while I don't think he's going to be sacked, you something you have to look at. I don't really want Arteta sacked, but I'm neither Arteta out or Arteta in. I support the manager. I've seen some things I'm concerned. I see some things to praise. I'm not willing to go out on a whim for you yet, Arteta. And that's something in a full season I wanted to kind of get to see bits and pieces as to what he wants to do. So we'll have to see, man. And this is it. We're relying on individual brilliance. We're even against Leicester, Don't get it twisted. It was open play and brilliance and collectively good play that led to the penalty and the set piece that Willian delivered for David Luiz. But we're not even shooting. We're not even shooting. We're not having efforts at goal. We're relying on and these things are not sustainable. I'm talking about last year. Please go and watch the second leg at the Emirates again, people. If you don't think he made an error, then he didn't make an error. But please go watch that game again. Big up yourself, my guy. I've already offered my thoughts on that, so you're gonna have to check out my video from yesterday. I'm not gonna go over the same things, man. Please hit the like button though. Bellerin is definitely getting sold. Who knows? But wouldn't mind that, bro. I've been speaking about Fabian Luiz. I suppose you're talking about the Napoli Donny, or you meant to talk about the Napoli Donny. He's someone we should have got when he was at Villarreal or wherever he is. These are the signings you got to make on a quick thing. You can just see that Paredes, we was all talking about him. I know us fans always gassing up players, and sometimes you see they're not levels, but at the same time, that's the thing about Arsenal. If we haven't really got money, let's be proactive and let's really scout, man, really and truly. Hit the like button like my man. Say, keep the questions coming. I like Anguissa, but I'd probably pass. We need to, but these players, I don't know if they've got the ability to do that, man. I really don't. I don't. I just think some of these players are uncoachable now. Like Arteta's got to show me something to say you are the guy to coach these new players. But I just think a lot of them are just, they've been, they might leave and hit the heights or whatever. But we've been down a long road with several of these players. So we've got to, you just got to cut some man loose. Andrews said Europa or top four. If you're asking me which one I think is more realistic, then evidently Europa League. I don't think we can get top four, but I would like to qualify for Europe via the domestic league, which is top four, because that would show me, regardless, over a 38 game period, you was able to do it. I can have criticisms, but you're able to do it, and you fall short too many times. There's no cheating around that. I'm not saying you can flunk your way to your Europa League final, but you get where I'm going. Please make sure you're hitting the like button, people. Love for that, my guy. I appreciate that, man. Come on, man. Bayesian and Jamaican, come on. I like Lookman, probably pass though. I like Lookman. But if we're going to I think he'd be levels and he cut his teeth and it'd be a good option. But for me, I'm actually kind of happy with our wide areas. So if we're going to look for someone, I want them to be evidently better than what we have. Really, or I would, not that we can get, but I'd want people significantly clear of what we have, if that makes sense. I wouldn't mind Lookman. I like Lookman. He's from London. He's a nice player. I think Nigeria need to get at him and try and get him to play for them, while it seems like England aren't showing him some love and he's going after the radar, man. We do need that. We need a Bruno who can turn up in big games. I've got to do it, United fans. I've got to. But you're right, man. There's not too many goal scoring midfielders, but you see what I like about Bruno. Whatever you say about him, he's a goal scoring midfielder, which obviously we lack, but he wants to make the difference. I don't see that with our midfield. For me, midfielders should be the man that want the ball the most in our team. We don't have that. Nobody really wants the ball in our midfield, and the ones that do, they've got issues, man. Like they've got serious issues, man. Serious issues. Don't worry about that, man. Just the fact that you're giving your time is lovely enough, man. I appreciate that. Big up Alex, my guy. Used to play with him. 9 signings, new contracts given to players, and plenty of outgoing since Arteta came. We should be a lot further in this process. I do agree, but this is where, for me, Arteta has all his question marks, and I know you know your thing, Alex, so you know already. But this is where it all comes down to the owner. There's no clarity. There's no direction. We don't evidently see what we want our club to become. And then you've got Arteta, who's learning on the job and is not surrounded by people who can rein him in from his madness and things. And you've got Edu of the same token learning on the job. And you've got Vinay, who, you know, very smart man, held CEO positions and things like that. But in that role, he's new. So when you got Edu, my man, and Arteta all learning, and they've got ridiculous positions of power. And for me, no evident pressure to perform or justify several things is what it is. You know, when I see certain things like Arteta relying on certain players or evidently still playing them when they're not levels, this tells me there ain't much pressure. Sometimes Arteta's lineup has told me there's no real pressure. I'm not saying Arteta should or shouldn't be sacked. It's just pressure makes us play a bit better or perform a bit better. It just feels like a lot of people are left to their own devices. There was going to be a lot of turnover. I think what I would have liked to have seen now is a minimum way of playing and consistency in that regards. You're right, man. You're fully right, man. Hey, make sure you stay in school, man. Paddy, hey, Deluded. You ever thought of doing a football manager series? We'd love to see how you set up Arsenal. Make sure you're following me on Deluded Gooner 187 on Twitch, because that content's coming, my guy. It's coming, my guy. South London's finest has said, DG, do you think Arteta and Edu will be ruthless in the summer with ins and outs? Because let's be real, both their jobs will be on the line if we are in this position next season, as it should be. Edu, you need to pull it out, because forgive me, I don't know what Edu's really done at this football club. You know, fair enough, he's helped people over the line. He might have done something for Odegaard, but Odegaard's every time, all the signings we've got, yeah, and I'm not criticizing them, but nobody wants to sell good players. That's why Arsenal have a problem selling players. You know, nobody wants to sell good players. Who wants to sell a good player? Nobody. So you have to make them available. Too often than not, our players at our club have one foot out the door. You know, Celtic, fair enough. I'd say Tierney and Partey are two different ones, but Celtic, they only wanted 20 odd million. We can rustle together some quid for that. Partey had a release clause, so he's 1 foot out. Do you get what I'm saying? Cedric 1 foot out, Matt Ryan 1 foot out, David Luiz out, Willian out, half of these players out. So Bios can't find a club. So I don't really see with that. We're not forcing it, and this doesn't tell me you necessarily want these players. I'm not saying you don't, but you know, when you force the boat, you know, you're more likely to want a player, and there's going to be more of a long-term thing. Because I look at our team, yeah, we've got Smith Rowe, Saka, Martinelli, you know, Pepe's only 25, Tierney's just a couple years younger than him, you know, Gabriel's not the oldest, Leno's prime ages for a goalie. There's little bits and pieces, but then I look at it and I see a lot of uncertainty. You know, I look at, with all due respect to Aubameyang, because we knew when we signed in the deal, he's getting on a bit. You know, you're still going to have Willian, you know, Willian, Aubameyang, allegedly David Luiz, new deal. I'm not really seeing what we're trying to do. I don't really see it as, okay, cool, we're doing this young player thing, but there's 1 or 2, 3, 4 experienced players to hold their hands and get them through it. Or we're doing this experienced player thing, but the door's not shut to no young players. I don't really understand. And I know it's Arteta's full season, but it still feels like it's a play thing. And I do think next season is the first year there'll really be question marks for Arteta, because obviously I don't think we're going to get rid of all the players that need to get rid of and these things in the summer, but I think he won't have the excuse of a muddled up pre-season and COVID. Obviously the season before that he took over mid-season. The season for his first preseason, he took over. So I don't think those luxuries are going to be there really and truly. So I do think their position should be on the line. You know, maybe the buck falls for Arteta and Edu stays because of Arteta's sort of contract sort of thing. But it's just not levels. And I would like to see it. I would like to see ruthlessness. You know, even with the young players, I'd all love to see. You know, I'd love to see young players get more of a chance. But if you was to sell all these young players and bring in some real quality consistency, I can say, all right, cool, I get it, innit? I get it. And they're going to need to, because there's going to be a lot of work to be done. You still need to make a decision over Lacazette, over David Luiz. You know, Xhaka's got 2 years left. You know, Torreira, you've got to do something about that. Guendouzi's going to have a year left come the summer. You know, you still have Eddie and Nketiah on the books. You'd have Joe Willock and Maitland-Niles. What's happening with them? There's a lot to do. We're not going to do it all, you know, El Nene, but you need to do something. There's too much question marks and speculation. So really, how can you have any stability? You're fully right, man. You're fully right, man. Fully right. Fully right, man. Big up yourselves. Big up everybody locked in. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. I do think Martinelli is rated by Arteta. I just think fans have to calm it down. I'm on the fence with it because I would like him to get more minutes, of course, and play a bit more. But I think fans need to calm it down. He has a mad injury and things like that. And I just think Martinelli is one of those players where sometimes, as great as he is, sometimes he's had a shocker. He wasn't that good in the FA Cup. He weren't that good a couple months ago against West Ham. I think it was last season. Not, and I'm speaking in general now. As great as I think Martinelli is, and don't get it twisted, he's one of the first names on the team sheet. I think he's one of those where people just bum suck everything he does. Nobody speaks about the conceded penalty in the cup against Liverpool. Nobody does. And this ain't me using it to critique him. This is me looking at balance that, yes, everybody's right. My man should be playing more. He is a talented player. But on the other hand, he's hardly Ronaldinho. Relax. Like, let's calm it down. And I'm not going to, he should be ahead of Willian, but I can understand why he's not in the lineup, because, Laka's found a bit of form and general playing stuff. Aubameyang's found a bit of form. Saka's made the left and the right his own. Pepe's now stand up to be counted. Regardless of what Willian does, he should be ahead of him. We heard it was a scouting job. I thought it was Edu as well, but we heard it was a scouting job done by newly departed scouts. So again, that's another thing. If we can't go toe to toe with people, make sure the scouting's on point. I keep hearing them speak about we're ready to move in 3 and 4 different ways, and then come the summer, everybody's doing their business early. We're sitting on our hands. We're like, okay, no, we have to loan out Saliba. We're not gonna pay for Partey, and then on the last day of the season, you're gassing fans because you've done it on deadline day, where that screams incompetence. Where a real club would have said, all right, cool, give them the piece. We'll try to get money off, try to get a deal, but they don't want to do it. Pay my man's release clause. Let's go and get a lesser profile now. If you could find someone that costs, it's easier said than done, of course. But could you find someone that costs 500,000 in the second division somewhere that can play like Partey or play with Partey? Because that's what football is. Football don't matter if you're both. We all love the glamorous players, but let's be real. And it's easy for me to say, but there's players out there. Every player that we look at in the Prem or wherever, at some period, they had to be bought from somewhere. So again, it's down to our scouting, and we need to be proactive in that regards. We're bargain hunting for shit players, pardon my language, and it's not going to happen with us. Yeah, you might get an Odegaard and a Ceballos once in a while, but other than that, you're getting poor players. You're getting poor players. You're getting players that are past it, players that are inconsistent. It's a madness, man. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But let's see, man. Let's see what happens, man. And then make sure you're bringing in those players. This is it, because there's players over there. There's players over there, man. If you can find them, get them done. Especially if you can't go toe to toe. This is why our market has to. What we do in the market is more important than other people, because you can get signings wrong, but we can't afford to really get it wrong, man. I think Martinelli is just a striker. He's actually not the best technically, which is why I think he struggled on the wing and he's not played much there. He's played quite well on the wings and he is quite decent technically. I think he can be a striker in the winger, but fair play, Dan. I think that's a rather dim view, but it's calm, man. And this is the balance, people. No, I didn't quite say that. I said Martinelli been good this season. You look at when he came back injured against City, but Elliot, there's no balance speaking about him. He's either the best thing since sliced bread or he's this and that, and this is football fans and realistically Arsenal. It's like you can't have two things. I don't understand not bringing him on and bringing on Aubameyang. I don't understand that, but I understand why it's not a week in, week out thing, sort of thing. And I think he sees him as a striker. That's probably why he ain't playing on the left. And he's got his love affair with Lacazette and Aubameyang, who I don't necessarily think he's sold on, man. So, yeah, man. Is what it is. I would love Verratti, but come on now, man. Verratti coming to Arsenal? Fat chance, man. Right. You ain't leaving PSG to come and play with El Nene in midfield. It's a myth, man. It's a myth. Shout out to you, Jamie, but can't say I can. There's no DP, my guy. I don't know. No, my guy. So yeah, man. Keep the questions coming. Please make sure you hit the like button, people. Appreciate all of you lot locked in on this boring Tuesday. What are we at? 123 likes, people. 200 people viewing. Let's keep running that one up. Let's keep running that one up. Now, if we quickly switch it up, people. Why did I click that? Sorry, people. Click the wrong article. But if we quickly go over some, like I said, it's a slow news day, people. There's nothing going on, but some of the articles that I've come across online. Apparently, Xhaka sends Champions League message to Arsenal stars as Tottenham clash on the horizon. Granit Xhaka wants his side to show some consistency in their top 4 push. Forgive me if it's not zoomed in enough, people. Granit Xhaka has warned Arsenal that they will now have to go on a run of wins if they are to stand up any chance of a top 4 place this season. He's not lying. Easier said than done. As you lot know, we're 6. I don't know where it's going about only, but we're 6 points off the top 6 in the Premier League and 8 off the top 4. There's 12 games left. So again, we're even on the best of days, we're relying on a lot, people. We're relying on a lot. Trying to skip through into exactly what my man said in Granit Xhaka. He said, we have to do it game by game, not for 3 games, not for 4. We have to consistently be like this with the energy, this team spirit. Well, you lot need to realize how to start games, really and truly. After this, I'm looking forward to us doing something. We knew Leicester had a good midfield and a great team as well. They tried to play football, but we won a lot of duels. I'd say a lot of 50-50 balls, and the goals were brilliant. I'm so happy for the team. He said, we started very slowly at Leicester, but after my mistake, we conceded the goal. The team went up. We knew it would be very difficult after the Europa League game, after traveling and everything else, to be ready for a midday kickoff. I'm not being funny. I agree with it. And it is problems. But at the same time, I'm not being funny. If you want to play for a team that's going to play in the Champions League or Europe, or teams that are typically meant to be the top teams in the Premier League, then playing 3 times in 10 days, 2 games a week, traveling and stuff, and playing midweek, while I have sympathy, these are given. So I'm not saying Xhaka's using it as an excuse. These are territories that we're crossing. So I have a tough time just accepting it. You know, I know these things are difficult, but you know, in August, these are all possibilities. So I have little sympathy generally. It wasn't easy, but in the end, we deserved to win. We played really, really good game after 10 minutes. It was really important for those 3 points. So yeah, people, you know, I can't fault anything Granit Xhaka has said there. You know, this just kind of highlights how poor we were. That's irrelevant. We've been linked with Odegaard as well. I said Odegaard, Eduard, apologies, as you know. Who did I watch him? Was it against St Mirren or St Johnstone when I watched Celtic come from behind and he bagged 2 goals? Now, for me, I would be all right to take Eduard, but I think he'll struggle in his first year. Again, I think he's a talented player, but we need to give him an adaptation period. I do think his intelligence would have to improve, but I do think he's got good movement. He's got good technical abilities. He knows how to score goals, and with a year left, it could be a cut price thing. So, provided the minimum he could do is be somewhat that has the strengths of Lacazette, which are different. I think he does, but doesn't. That could be decent to us. But for him, you know, does it make sense to join Arsenal ahead of Aston Villa and Leicester? Because Leicester right now are probably going to be in Europe. Roma's an attractive proposition. I do think he'll join Arsenal over Aston Villa, but who knows, people? He's been linked with us again, and you've seen this before, people. Apparently, Leicester could face competition from from Premier League rivals Arsenal and Aston Villa in the race to sign in-demand striker Eduard, people. Apparently, Celtic are said to have wanted 40 million last summer, but a fee closer to 20 million now might be enough to sign him when the transfer window opens. And that'll probably be the fee you're looking to get for Lacazette anyways. And if you could sell Lacazette and Eddie and bring in a respectable sum and bring in Eduard, it could be a decent bit of business. He's 23, so there's resale value. He has scored 21 goals. Apparently, it says here he has switched agents, and he has the same agent as former Celtic and current Arsenal player Kieran Tierney. So conspiracy theorists, draw whatever claims you want. Keeping up with recycled rumours, people. Apparently, West Ham are very keen to sign Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah. They've been linked with Tammy Abraham. I don't think Chelsea would let him go. But out of the two, I'd rather Tammy Abraham. He's more Premier League proven. You know, Nketiah, while I like him, he's a hot shot at youth level. You know, anything but a goal scorer at first team level. It just hasn't happened for him. But apparently, David Moyes will be desperate to strengthen his centre forward options at the London Stadium this summer, with going for Eddie Nketiah, people. So let's see. Tammy Abraham's on the shortlist. Like I said, even if you could, I'd rather Tammy Abraham on loan than Eddie Nketiah permanently. I'll be real with you. Eddie needs to show something, man. You know. And again, as you lot can see here, Tammy Abraham is on West Ham's list of potential strikers this summer, along with Eddie Nketiah and Ivan Toney. Now, I'd rather take the chance on Toney for 20 million and probably Tammy than Eddie, because again, if West Ham do get in the Champions League, bro, Eddie's not scoring Champions League goals for you people. As much as I like him, you know, and as much as I don't know what's going on with Tammy at Chelsea, you'd have to ask a Chelsea fan. He's their top goal scorer, and he was left out of the squad for the draw. Apparently, he's only got a couple of years left on his contract, so this could be, they could sell him and allegedly bring in the Haalands and these sort of guys, people. Eddie and Nketiah for me probably be third, fourth choice. Arsenal would be, I'd be very ecstatic to see us get 35 million, which the article allegedly said, for someone that would have 12 months on his deal, and that someone at the professional game which doesn't have anything close to doing anything. It didn't work for him at Leeds. He's done all right at Arsenal and he has scored some vital goals, but Nketiah's goals are few in between. So it is what it is in that regard. So yeah, man, more Eduard stuff and all of that sort of business, people. Let me see if there's anything else circling online. We've already read that. Lacazette has already decided his Arsenal future. Let's see what this says. In fact, what's going on here? As you lot can see here, people, we already know he's in the last year of his contract. Apparently, this article said Lacazette looks set to depart the club this summer, with Arsenal happy to let him go if the right offer comes in. Apparently, he was close to leaving last summer. Yeah, I'm trying to find the actual relevant bits. I really hope that this isn't just somebody's own 2 pence, because again, right now I'm scrolling and there's nothing logically. Apparently, Football London assesses Lacazette's options this summer again, so it's just clickbait. Atletico, I'm not too sure if they're going back in for him. So again, I'm not going to keep reading and giving clout to this article because it's not helping me, people. But you get the point, man. That's it in relation to transfer. So it's just retired sort of stuff, people, really and truly. He did, but at the same time, big up yourself, Sandro, for locking in, man. That would be a great move for Eddie, but I'd be laughing. But I don't think they're certified, man. I don't think they're certified. Because all of them things are going to cost a pretty penny, bro. But Buendia, we could probably get him for 30 odd. Jimenez, that's costing 50, whatever. Yeah, Rafinha, Leeds aren't trying to let him go. And obviously, Premier League tax has to be thrown into it. So, yeah, man. Make of that what you will. Would you rather spend on a right back? Or centre midfielder? Both. I think both are as vital. But if you pushed it, I'd more happy to continue. I'm looking at the worst of games. If you was to ask me, cool, you have to go from the summer till January with Cedric potentially and Bellerin. Not really convinced in it, but I'd rather rely on Cedric, maybe even Maitland-Niles coming back than our midfield, because I can't keep seeing our midfield and the inconsistencies, man. Defense is one thing, but the midfield is crucial, man, and it's just not levels at this moment in time, people. It's just we ain't got people who can dictate the tempo, people that want the ball, people that do things in less touches. We ain't got that, man. We ain't got that at all. Any watch-alongs, DG? Might do one for Thursday. Going to take today off. Can't actually do it. Actually busy doing some research later, so I'm actually not having time. It's in my plan. I've got to stick to it. But why not? Maybe Thursday. What's that? Liverpool, Chelsea. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know, man. I don't know. It depends how I'm feeling. Man. So yeah, I like Basuma, but I think he's one of those players everybody's looking at as the Oracle and the Messiah, when, a year ago they weren't necessarily saying that. Not that they're wrong, but it is what it is, man. Please stop spamming. Not you. Please stop spamming. When's my cutoff point for Reece Nelson? Anything can change, but I'd say my cutoff point is for now. Not for me personally, but he's evidently, I don't know if he's rated truly by Arteta. It ain't worked out, so there must be something you're not doing on the training ground. He wants to play Willian on the best of days. And based off last game, he's given Willian, Willian's been given something to suggest he's going to be in the team. Saka, Pepe, Aubameyang, Martinelli, they're all ahead. So he probably needs to be moved on. I would like to see him potentially loaned out if he isn't going to, see him if there's still a player, because I do think there's a profit to be made. But we can't afford to hold people's hands. I do think when you've got a one of Reece Nelson and a Maitland and a Joe and an Eddie, you can take time to develop one of these players. But we've got too many young, unproven talents, and we've got too many inconsistent players. And obviously the club isn't where it is at the moment. So certain man might have to go elsewhere to reach their full potential. But all I care about is we're selling for the right price. I think Maitland-Niles is gone. I think Joe should be gone as well. I'd probably sell Joe and Maitland. I'll be real with you. I would like to keep them both, but part of me just wants to do this. All right, cool. As much as I want these young players, you sell Maitland, you sell Torreira, you sell Joe Willock, and then you buy proper players in and whatnot, man. I don't know if they're directly correlated, George, but at the same time, I don't know. But what I have seen with Mustafi and Kolasinac, apparently they're colluding to get their new manager, the Schalke guy, out, or have already. So, is what it is, man. Yeah, man. Must admit, I'm not really impressed with Maitland-Niles in midfield in the 3 games I've seen him play. I think evidently I'll talk about it more on my loan watch, but his end products has got to improve. He's never going to be a goal scorer, but every game he's played, he's been in that final third and not done all right. There's always a way back. You could never say never. At least temporarily, he's going to have to stay at the club for a couple of weeks until his thing gets solved. You know, El Nene, it looked like he was over. I know Arteta's his boy and all of those sort of things, but it looked like it was over for him. So I'll never rule it out, but I think it's gone because his heart's not in this thing. So just keep it moving, really and truly. No, it is where it is in that regards. We'll talk about Burnley later on in the week, my dude, but I don't see why Odegaard would have to be rested against Burnley. Bro, Maitland-Niles got to do the right back thing. I 100% agree. 100% agree. Please make sure you're hitting those like buttons, people. Big up the Twitch gang as usual. 149 likes. Can we get that to 200 people? I wouldn't say that. He's just lowering his value by not standing out. Bro, they probably didn't. Do you know how many footballers don't settle because of their wives and things like that? So if he's not happy here, just keep it moving. It happens, innit? He's a great player, but keep it moving, man. The world's going to keep spinning. He's hardly Patrick Vieira, man. Oh, I just lost the question. How do you feel about Milinkovic-Savic? Would love him. Would love him. You know, Pellegrini of Roma, certified as well. Would like them both, but myths. Myths. I think if anything, Joe Willock is going to stay, gets another year and things. But again, Joe, it's only been 3 games, but I'm seeing hell of an idea. I mean, I'm seeing hell of engine and all gear. I'm not seeing idea, you know. So it's difficult. And even for Joe, he's got to make a decision. Hopefully, he comes back, looks a different player, and helps us. But would you want to come back to warm the bench and all of them things when you get a little taste of football? Who knows, man? You know, I wouldn't mind. Listen, I want them all to come back. I wouldn't mind Maitland coming back, Joe Willock coming back, you know, Torreira and Guendouzi, but realistically, they're probably not. I wouldn't mind them being sold either if it means we're going to do something, man. I'm not too sure you can accuse Maitland-Niles of arrogance without actually knowing him. Let's be careful of such, but fair play. You know, so I think Maitland-Niles can be a midfielder. It's just not going to happen at top level because he's a bit too casual from what I'm seeing. You know, you don't really do anything outstandingly. You're okay at things. Final third against United, against Burnley, and against Brighton. You've either should have had a goal or assist or helped your team in that regard. So it is what it is, man. Could have done a lot better. Of course, Torreira's bossed a lot of games, man, but listen, at the Emirates, I was one of those people going, Torreira. Oh, I used to love that, people. It's a madness. If to be honest, you have to look at Trent. Trent saw an opportunity there to play right back and look at him. I still back him to play midfield now, but where would he be? He could very well be in the championship or whatever because he never got a chance. We don't know. You know, you've got to take it. It's like Wan-Bissaka. Can't believe he was a winger at Crystal Palace for all them years, but he wouldn't be at Man United if he was still a winger. So have to see what happens, man. I miss Guendouzi, you know, the mentality, decent passer. I miss Guendouzi. But again, these are players that, you know, if we're not gonna, you know, when you look at all of them, I wouldn't feel comfortable welcoming back Joe Willock, Maitland-Niles, Guendouzi, having still got Nelson. Somehow Eddie would still be on the papers and things like that. I think we'd have again. I don't see at Arsenal concrete evidence to how we're improving these players, and we've got too many of these players where we say if this and but that. We need to, as much as I want all these young players to make it, if there's not a proper plan for them, whether it's all right, cool, you're going to stay here, you're going to do this. If you're not on it, keep it moving, or we're going to loan you out, then by this year, you're going to be this. If it's not that, then we just need to cut some man loose, and it is what it is, people, in that regards, and just get back to having a certified team. Bro, you've seen me talk about Luka Netz for time. Bad boy, used to be a winger, now a fullback. Scored his first goal the other week in Bundesliga. Someone that we need, man. I appreciate that, man. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens, man. We really will have to see what happens, man. But on that note, I'm gonna keep it moving, people. There isn't anything more to say. Like I said, I just wanted to review the month, really. So please hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. On that note, people, DG, I'm out. See you all later.